the hell you were thinking, smoking weed on the side of the road in clear view of everyone, neighbors, the cops. Seriously, I want to know what was going through your brain.
Oh, it's legal now.
Not for you, it isn't. You get inside that house, you are grounded. Acknowledge me, damn it!
All right, I'm grounded.
If you were to watch Ginny and Georgia on mute, Marcus Baker would appear to be a character you have seen 1,000 times before. He is the archetype of the suburban rebel. He climbs through bedroom windows under the cover of darkness. He smokes weed to annoy his parents. He drives a motorcycle. He speaks in a low, detached monotone that suggests he is too cool to care about anything happening around him. On the surface, the show encourages us to view him through the lens of the romantic bad boy trope, the mysterious, damaged heartthrob who just needs the right girl to fix him. But if we turn the sound back on, and if we listen to the silence between his lines, a much darker and more realistic picture emerges. Marcus Baker is not a romantic hero. He is a clinically accurate, devastating portrayal of teenage male depression and the specific kind of nihilism that is born from unprocessed grief. The tragedy of his character is that he is often screaming for help, but because his screams look like apathy or promiscuity or teenage rebellion, nobody is listening. This video is an analysis of the psychology of Marcus Baker. We are going to deconstruct the myth of the cool, detached boyfriend to reveal the hurting child underneath. We are going to look at how he uses intimacy as a form of self-harm, how grief constructs a void where a personality should be, and why his story is not about getting the girl, but about the desperate, silent battle to simply stay alive. Chapter 1. The Anesthetics of Intimacy. The video title refers to promiscuity as a survival tactic, and to understand Marcus, we have to start there. When we first meet him, his reputation precedes him. He is sexually active, non-committal, and engaging in a detached, almost transactional relationship with Padma. The show initially frames this as him being a player or having commitment issues. However, from a psychological perspective, Marcus's promiscuity operates much more like an anesthetic. For a teenager suffering from high-functioning depression, the world often feels either overwhelmingly painful or terrifyingly numb. There is very little middle ground. In this state, sex ceases to be about connection, romance, or even pleasure. Instead, it becomes a method of somatic grounding. It is a way to briefly shock the nervous system into feeling something, or conversely, a way to shut off the brain entirely and exist only as a body. Marcus avoids emotional intimacy not because he is cruel or indifferent, but because intimacy requires vulnerability, and for Marcus, vulnerability is inextricably linked to loss. If he keeps his partners at arm's length, if he treats intimacy as a physical act rather than an emotional one, he maintains control. He remains safe in his numbness. This is why his early interactions with Ginny are so volatile. She represents a breach in his defense mechanism. She demands to be seen, and she sees him in return. For a boy using promiscuity to anesthetize himself against the reality of his life, being truly seen isn't romantic, it's terrifying. It threatens to wake him up from the numbness he has carefully cultivated to survive his own mind. Chapter 2. Grief and the Architecture of the Void. To understand why Marcus needs this anesthetic, we have to look at the root cause of his pathology. It isn't just teenage angst. It is the trauma of losing his best friend. Male grief, particularly in adolescence, is often pathologized or misunderstood because it rarely looks like sadness in the traditional sense. Society offers teenage boys very few avenues to express profound loss. They cannot weep openly without being shamed. They often lack the vocabulary to articulate the complexity of their mourning. So the grief curdles. it turns inward and transforms into nihilism. This is the architecture of the void that Marcus lives in. His behavior, the skipping class, the lack of ambition, the smoking, is often read by the adults in his life as laziness or rebellion. But looking closer, these are symptoms of existential paralysis. Marcus has learned a terrible lesson too young, that stability is an illusion, and that everything you love can be extinguished in a random Tuesday afternoon accident. This knowledge creates a state of hopelessness. Why study for a future you don't believe you will have? Why follow the rules if the rules didn't save your friend? This is the psychology of the void. It is the belief that nothing matters. And while the bad boy trope usually suggests a character who breaks rules because he wants to create chaos, Marcus breaks rules because he simply cannot find the energy to believe that the rules, or life itself, have any inherent value. He isn't rebelling against authority, he's resigned to the emptiness. Chapter 3. The Mirror in the Dark. This brings us to his dynamic with Ginny Miller. The standard reading of their relationship is that they are soulmates who heal each other, but I would argue their connection is based on something much more specific. They speak the same language of the unsaid. In the brightly colored, high-energy, performative world of Wellsbury, a world dominated by the manic energy of characters like Maxine and Georgia, Marcus and Ginny are the only two people operating on a different frequency. They are both observers. They are both performatively fine while internally collapsing. Marcus functions as a mirror for Ginny. He is the first person to notice her self-harm, not because he is a detective, but because he recognizes the impulse to destroy oneself. He recognizes the need to externalize internal pain. This is why their relationship works, and why it is so compelling. It isn't a savior dynamic. Marcus cannot save Ginny because he cannot save himself. Instead, he offers her a shared silence. He offers her a space where she does not have to perform happiness. In a world that demands Ginny be grateful, happy, and composed, Marcus allows her to be broken. He validates her depression simply by letting his own depression exist alongside it. He creates a pocket of reality in a town built on facades. He is the mirror in the dark, reflecting her pain back to her without judgment, because to judge her would be to judge himself.
Okay. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What is wrong with you? Do you hate us?
No, I don't hate you. I hate me. I hate me, okay? I hate me, okay? I hate me! I hate me! I hate me!
Chapter 4. The Fallacy of the Cure. This is where Ginny and Georgia does something truly revolutionary for the teen drama genre. In almost every other iteration of this story, from The Vampire Diaries to One Tree Hill, the narrative logic dictates that the love of a good woman is the cure for the bad boy's pain. We expect that once Marcus gets the girl, his darkness will lift. He should become motivated, happy, and whole. But the show subverts this fantasy with a brutal biological reality. Marcus gets the girl, he experiences deep, genuine love, and he still falls apart. This chapter centers on the concept of anhedonia, a core symptom of major depressive disorder, defined as the inability to feel pleasure or interest in things once enjoyed. When Marcus begins to pull away from Ginny in Season 2, the audience's instinct is to view it through the lens of relationship drama. Is he bored? Is he cheating? Is he afraid of commitment? The truth is much more harrowing. He isn't pulling away because he doesn't love her. He is pulling away because his brain has stopped allowing him to feel that love. The climax of this arc is the devastating monologue he delivers to his parents, where the mask of the cool, detached rebel completely shatters. He screams, "I hate me." It is a moment of visceral, unadulterated self-loathing. In this moment, we see that his bad boy persona was never a statement of confidence. It was a desperate attempt to cover up the fact that he feels fundamentally broken. The tragedy of Marcus Baker is that he wants to be the romantic hero Ginny deserves. He wants to be the stable partner. But depression is not a mood you can simply snap out of because you found romance. By showing his collapse, the series argues that intimacy is not a cure for mental illness. In fact, attempting to maintain a relationship while drowning in anhedonia can feel like drowning twice, once in your own mind, and again in the guilt of dragging someone else down with you. Chapter 5: Surviving the Silence. Marcus Baker forces us to confront the uncomfortable reality beneath the tropes we romanticize. We want the leather jacket, the motorcycle, and the brooding silence because they signify mystery and allure. We rarely want to acknowledge that in the real world, those same signifiers often point to a young man who is actively disengaging from life because he is in too much pain to participate in it. He is not a puzzle to be solved. He is not a project for the protagonist to fix. He is a portrait of grief that has nowhere to go. The victory in Marcus's story is not that he ends up with Ginny or that he successfully maintains a relationship. The victory is that he survives the silence long enough to let someone else hear it. By dismantling the bad boy fantasy, Ginny and Georgia gives us something much more valuable than a romance trope. It gives us a mirror. Marcus reflects the silent, suffocating reality of male depression, forcing the audience to confront why we find the performance of apathy so attractive, and why we are so often afraid to acknowledge the raw vulnerability hiding directly behind it. Ultimately, Marcus Baker doesn't need to be a hero, a savior, or a boyfriend to be a compelling character. He just needs to be a person who is allowed to hurt without it being romanticized, and hopefully, eventually, a person who is allowed to heal. Thank you for watching. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this. Did you initially read Marcus as the standard bad boy archetype, or did his depiction of depression resonate with you from the start? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this analysis and want to support the channel, please like the video and subscribe for more deep dives into the psychology of film and television characters. I'll see you in the next one.